right? Okay. Hey, Miss Wicked Wolf. All right. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Hey there, Jake. Oop. Hold on. I need to share the link on Blue Sky. And there we go. Okay, cool. Cool. Ooh, the animation's gorgeous. Here for that. I keep forgetting there's going to be a new Smurf movie, Ms. Wicked Wolf. I deeply have no interest. Hey there, Scuzzbopper. Good to see you. Whew. That wind isn't messing around. Hello? Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Whoa. Oh. Oh. I don't even know who I am, and I just got dragged down to who knows what dark pit or lush jungle. Okay. All right. So what have I got right now? I've got a dodge roll, and I've got a jump. And the dodge roll is on a stamina meter. Okay, good to know. Yeah, small jump, big jump, pretty step. Oh! Okay, so that was spiky, and that hurt. All right, so we start with a wall jump. That's often unlocked later, but okay. Ooh, wall jump works smoothly. That can go either way sometimes. There are some games where the wall jump is finicky as hell. Flipwitch had that problem. It was one of the reasons I stopped playing it initially until I came back and like muscled through its floaty jump mechanics and ended up beating it. Okay. That's a game I've yet to talk about. That'll be talked about on the Vera Wild channel eventually because it is... Okay. Because it is a spicy game. This is not. Regrettably, I think I've noted this. Whoa. You're not allowed to stream spicy games on YouTube. It's the same on Twitch. Which, you know, I get, but is kind of a shame. Because some of them are really interesting to play and or talk about. Wait. Oh. Okay. Ah. Can I mid-air dash or dodge? Nope. All right. I have to be on the ground for the dodge roll to work. Whoa! Well, you don't sound like the type that would have any purpose other than dark. Whoa! This strikes me as a bad deal that's going to bite me in the ass. Oh, okay. Oh, and we've got combo right off the bat. All right, all right, all right. What's over here? Oh, closed door. All right, only one way to go then, I suppose. Going down. Resist or embrace. Ah, the classic dilemma. Boy, that was kind of the gameplay mechanic of the last game I streamed. Whoa, this is oddly technological. I would not have expected, given the tone of things up to this point. Don't know what those are, but I probably want them. Ooh. Nice. Okay, so I can attack through barriers. Good to... Whoa! Okay. All right, I can't clear that. So, down we go. Whoa! Jeez. Those things just kind of come out of nowhere. It's interesting. I'm sort of more accustomed to, like, you enter an area and they're already there. They just kind of swarm me. Interesting. Valkyrie camp. Alright. Alright. The wall jump is designed so that I can't really use it to scale a single wall. I need to be able to go back and forth. Gotcha. Gotcha. Alright. Can't go through any of this yet. Oh. That's interesting. Hello? Deflecting shield. Okay. So I've got what probably amounts to a one-hit shield. What's over this way? I can't seem to do... All right, and that's close. Okay, so it was just the one way to go. made-up Eldritch language, I believe, Morrow. Hey there, Ghost. Good to see you. Whoa. Makeshift roads. Whoa. Almost forgot that was a spike. Oh, okay. Door opening mechanisms on the other side. I bet you that's probably the case with most of the doors that I've found up to now. Whoa. Okay. Ooh. I'm curious as to whether these are a currency that I don't know what it's for yet, or if this is experience. I'm inclined to say it's probably a currency. Not sure yet, though. Whoa! Whew! Did a rewatch of The Impossible Plan 2-parter after the latest Doctor Who review, and boy, do I want to see a companion take charge like Rose does in that episode. It's a great episode for a lot of reasons. It's like, I know I have a fair few friends who don't really like Rose, but I think that is one of her best outings as a character. It's got just a stellar supporting cast, all really well developed, excellently acted. I love the atmosphere on that one. Like, I deeply love that 2-parter. The maps are a little on the vague side. Whoa. Whoa! Jeez. I've watched the old episodes of Lion a long time. Why don't people like Rose? I think, well, okay. It varies from person to person. The reasons that I've heard is, like, people don't like her, especially with Tennant. She gets this jealous streak that, like, I don't super care for personally. And I think in a lot of ways, you know, what was intended just to read as her, you know, her inexperience and stuff came across in ways that I think grated on some people. I think it's largely a personality thing. Yeah, and then there's the romance angle, and if you don't like the Doctor getting romantically involved with the companions, which I don't, that becomes a sticking point as well. You know how you say you don't care about Mrs. Flood? Oh, I know. I've said it repeatedly. Do you prefer it if final clues are more subtle, like with Bad Wolf or Saxon? Not really. I don't. Like, it's all the mystery box format. I don't like it as a format, and I don't like Bad Wolf or Mr. Saxon either. The only reason that Mrs. Flood is worse than those is because they've dragged her out over 2 seasons. If she was a single season thing, I don't think she'd be any worse than those, in my estimation at least. But I don't like those either. Yeah, we can go. So let's not discuss the 2 most recent episodes. So let's definitely not talk. What the hell was it called? The Story in the Engine, And let's try and keep chat about Lucky Day to a minimum. I'm not going to completely rule that one out, but if we can keep it on the low side of things, I think that'd be good. Okay, I can't get through there yet. I don't hold... Well, first of all, I don't find Jackie that irritating because I think she was used about as much as she should have been for the kind of character she was. And I don't hold Jackie against Rose. Whoa, the hell is that? That's new. Oh, hello. Okay, yeah, no. Oh, I already came through this way. Right. Yeah, the map is... I'm still getting used to deciphering the map. It's a little vague. Little bit. Does Torchwood count as a mystery box? I mean, they basically explained what it was as soon as it was introduced. I'd call it a soft mystery box because you kind of know what it is. You just don't really fully know what they're up to and whether or not they can be trusted. So, yeah, that one's a little bit of a mystery box, but it's not on the same level. Whoa, whoa. Like her, I guess that Rose got... where Rose got her stubbornness from. Well, yeah, like, Jackie very much reads as the kind of mother that Rose would have. She certainly works as a character. And again, I think she's used about as much as she should be. The main issue with a character like that is overuse, which I get if some people feel she's in there more than she should be. I think she's in there about the right amount, personally. These things are relentless. Whoa, what the? So what we have so far is a slightly sci-fi eldritch flavored, very beautifully animated, but so far mechanically pretty standard Metroidvania. Now, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's been long enough since I've done a Metroidvania that I don't mind a standard one. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Cookie Cutter in that way, which was going for cyberpunk as its aesthetic, but it was pretty standard overall. What is this? Oh. Corrupted treasure. Huh. Do you think Jackie Tyler will be revealed as the god of divas? Cute. No, but cute. Wait, what? Oh. 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 Okay, so that's a little purple meter. Oh, gotcha, 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 gotcha. Oh, okay. Interesting, interesting. Sorry, give me 1 second. The master can be quite the diva, for sure. Research laboratory. Oh. All right. So that should unlock that. I am not in dire need of a new master anytime soon, Ms. Wicked Wolf. I think it's perfectly okay to give the master a break. Whoa. Come here. Meteoroid. I see what you did there, game. Whoa. Yeah, I get the impression that he's not especially right now either, Nick, which I think is good. I don't think we need more old stuff at the moment. Nice. Watched like day because I was curious about the discourse surrounding it. If I want to get back into the show properly, how far back should I go? Well, when did you drop off 255? I've wanted the Dream Lord back for a while, Matt, except, like, the reason I'm hesitant is, in theory, for the way the Dream Lord works, you have the potential to do something that could be really interesting or could make the whole thing less fun. Because the thing to remember is that the Dream Lord was very specifically a dark reflection of not just the Doctor in general, but of Eleven's Doctor in specific. So in theory, if you brought him back, he shouldn't be behaving exactly the same way, which could be interesting or could be disappointing if the way you have him behaving instead doesn't flow as well. You know what I mean? It would be a tricky thing to balance. And I guess I worry that, like, if they brought the Dream Lord back, they'd just be like, "Oh, cool, we'll have him behave just like before," and then I'd go, "But he shouldn't be if he's the dark reflection of a different Doctor than last time." You know what I mean? Like, I want him back, but then I think about what he is. I'm like, well, to stay true to what he actually is meant to be, getting him back wouldn't mean actually getting him back, you know? So it becomes a little bit odd. Jeez. Good grief. Oh. Thank you for the super chat, Dharma. I greatly appreciate that. At the start of Bill's run, then I watched the 14th Doctor because I liked Tennant, and then I stopped again. I mean, like, I think Series 10 is the best season of the entire show, personally. So I would tell you to go back and watch that. I feel bad saying just skip Whittaker's era, but, like, I think, like, and this is me just kind of going by the kind of, you know, questions that you ask and the sort of media that I am aware that you take in. I would be inclined to say maybe give Whittaker's era a pass, and jump into the new run with Gatwa. You probably should start it with Church on Ruby Road, even though I don't super like it, just because too much of it comes back. Yeah, there are episodes during Whittaker's run that I don't just like, but genuinely love. But overall, I had really hoped for better from her era. But that's, of course, to my taste. Some people will swear by that era, and that is fine. Whoa. Whoa. Ah! Okay, yep. That's whoa. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Whoa. Whoa! Jeez. Wait. Whoa. Come here. Whew. Oh. Oh. Whoa. So let me tell you what I really like about what just happened there. That was like, I feel like this game is balancing really well the chaotic sense of combat, but because there's no contact damage, or at least not from most of these enemies, I didn't just get completely slaughtered the way I expected. I actually don't think I even lost any life. But I came out of that basically unscathed, but at the same time, I don't feel like I just chumped on that room full of enemies. Oh, that's a good balance right there. I like it. It is an impressive thing to allow your players a really good chance at getting through an area unscathed, but have it still feel like they were in what the hell? Like they were in real danger. Yeah, I haven't seen them yet, Ms. Wicked Wolf. I still haven't reviewed the latest episode of, what is going on in here? Weird. Okay. Alright, so that's just information. Whew. Interesting. What do you mean about the media I say I like? I mean, like, based off what you have said you read and the kind of stuff you've commissioned for me to take a look at, I wouldn't think the Whitaker era would be to your liking. Like, I put a bunch of caveats on that because, like, ultimately we don't actually know each other personally. I'm just going off of my understanding based off us having been in some degree of communication for as long as we have. Whoa. Whew. Oh. Oh, crap. Damn it! Okay. That was a little annoying. Damn it! Okay. This might be the thing that ends up being a little bit of a not great aspect for me. Like, the combat's great. The environmental hazards, I'm now a little iffy on. I mean, I assumed as much given that... Ah! Frickin' hell. I assumed as much, Dharma, given that this is called the Eldritch edition that I'm playing right now, and just the tone of the whatever the thing is that's guiding me. That's kind of what I'd presumed. Shit. Okay. I played the original a little bit way back in the day, Matt, but like it has been a long time. Go, 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 go. Okay. What do you think 14th Doctor's doing right now in the Hooniverse? Maybe hang out with the Oods somewhere in a faraway galaxy. I think he's gardening. I think he's gardening and not watching the news. That's what I think he's doing. Oh. Whew. Okay. Someone should make an Eldritch Cookie Simulator. I wouldn't be shocked if it exists somewhere. Okay. "14 shouldn't have a TARDIS, in my opinion." I disagree. I think 14 should have a TARDIS. A TARDIS that understands... Oh, that looks like a boss symbol. A TARDIS that understands what is and isn't good for him, will limit his travel to places that won't be too much. And I think I think having the TARDIS there is what will keep him from going stir crazy. I think if he felt like he was stuck where he was, he'd go a little stir crazy. I think knowing that he can leave, even if he doesn't, I think is healthy for him. So no, I actually fully disagree with that, Nick. Basically across the board. Okay. Music's good on this. I haven't mentioned that yet. Whoa, okay. When that thing lands, it doesn't mess around. Come here. Whoa. Ah! Come here. Ah, crap. Okay. Oh, jeez. Whoa. Ah! Come here. Ah! Hmm? Come on. I've almost got you. I've almost got you. Come on. Damn it. Come here. Damn it. Come on. Damn it. Ah. Oh, jeez. Oh, crap. Come here. Gotcha. Mini boss. Okay. Whoo. Elder Shard. I'll let her know that you miss her, Ms. Wicked Wolf. He can still leave, just not off planet. I disagree, Nick. I feel like he needs to have the ability. Otherwise, he's never going to relax enough to do the healing he needs to be doing. I would say it's part of the healing process that he has the ability to go and get himself into trouble, but he's choosing not to. Do you think fantasy and sci-fi story should explain world building of the setting right away? Still rereading matter, and something I've forgotten Banks likes to do is just start in a really bizarre setting and go like 100 pages without explaining how it is or how it works. I mean, there's degrees to that. I would actually say I kind of prefer the middle ground, like small explanations as it goes. Like that's, I'm not trying to toot my own horn when I say this. That's basically how I wrote my own book. Like I didn't do a lot. I didn't do expositional world building, which I do think tends to be awkward. I think between the two, I would rather be, if those are the only two options you're giving me, and I don't cheat and say something in between, then I would say I prefer the being dropped in and having to figure some stuff out, just because it's far more engaging than just, you know, what the fuck? Explosive death awaits your foes. What the hell is this? The hell? But yeah, I think it's far more engaging to be trying to figure stuff out than to just basically have an in-world history lesson for a big chunk of it. Although I did, in my own book, again, I did cheat. I did kind of have one of those early on, because there were some things that I needed to explain that are... There wasn't really a natural way to have it be explained as... Whoa, okay. As straightforwardly as I needed it to be. Oh. Shit. I think that's the fair. He's like an addict after all. I just don't think I trust the TARDIS not to take him on wild adventures every time travel. I think the TARDIS understands that there is a version of the Doctor out there doing that. I think, in my mind, the TARDIS that is with the 14th Doctor knows and understands that what this Doctor needs is to be... Shit! Is to be taking it easy. And I think the TARDIS is going to accommodate that. That's my read, at least. like, you seem to be coming into it with a presumption that the TARDIS only behaves one way. Like, well, obviously the TARDIS gets him into adventures, so having a TARDIS would get him into adventures. But, like, the TARDIS is a living thing. The TARDIS is his friend, his oldest and dearest friend, and probably wants what's best for him, and I like to think wouldn't do something to undermine his healing. That's my take, at least. Have a good shower, Dharma. Leaping device. Double jump unlocked. It's always just a matter of time with these games. As do I, Sammy. Whoa! Whoa! Shit! Okay. Jeez. Whew. Whew. Hey there, Jennifer. Oh. Jesus. I'm in trouble. Ah ha ha. Woo! First time I died. Oh, goodness. Okay. So wait. Okay. Interesting. Damage, shield, armor. Okay. I got up early this morning to work out and watch the last episodes of Andor. Not saying anything, but it did make me cry a little. I haven't seen him yet, Jennifer, so no comment. Banks does do lore dumps sometimes, just not at the start. Like, I think you get stuff like what Virtual War is or the history of the front in lore dumps. Yeah, like, and not that there's a problem with a lore dump. I think the thing with lore dumps is to figure out where they fit. I think opening with a lore dump is pretty much always a mistake. Because, for me at least, you need to hook me into your plot, your themes, and your characters before I'm ever going to care about the lore. Oh. Like, if you want to be technical about it, Douglas Adams did frequent mini lore dumps, usually for the sake of a joke. And I think they work well for that. Whoa. Interesting. Oh. Oh. Gotcha. Whew. I also find it fascinating we may never find out what happened with 14. Pretty sure Big Finish will do it at some point. I mean, maybe. I would say it's not necessary. Because, you know, in theory, 14's life should be really boring. I would actually say I would discourage Big Finish from touching it. Because, like, the whole point of 14 is that he needs to relax, and I think... And, like, part of what I found beautiful about 14 was the fact that it basically was a doctor getting a happy ending, which I talked about before. You can't really do otherwise unless you literally end the entire show. And I think you undermined that doctor's happy ending and his taking time to heal by sending him on adventures. So I would say Big Finish really should leave well enough alone on that one. And hopefully, if they tried, the handlers for the IP over at the BBC would say, no, actually, we're not going to let you do that one. Whoa. Whew. Blind Luck, rank 1. Interesting. Been listening to some Fugitive Dr. Big Finish. Massively recommend the Baba Yaga story. Ooh. Like, if you're bringing folklore and witchiness into it, that's always going to excite me. How do you feel in universe exposition machines like Hitchhiker's Guide? I think for something like the Hitchhiker's Guide itself, it works perfectly well. Because, again, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you know, is a sci-fi adventure, but it's a comedy first. And so having something that might in other circumstances kind of undermine the organic storytelling nature, but is there because it makes for really good jokes, I think is 100% valid and was the right call for that. I think in general, having a lore dump machine, whether it's something like the Hitchhiker's Guide book, you know, in-universe guide, or whether it's something like Gideon in Legends of Tomorrow, I think it works best in general on a lighter tone property. Because I think having those kinds of on-hand lore dumps can just, on something that is meant to be taken more seriously, can just feel like, well, that was clunky. But if it's something lighthearted, it can just make you feel like, oh, okay, well, that's what we're doing. Cool. I don't think it's talked about a lot that the rules of what does or doesn't work do change with tone. So it's something worth keeping in mind that there are things that I would not recommend in the broadest sense, in terms of, like, I would just kind of say, yeah, I don't think that's a great, you know, storytelling device or what have you, but that will work in certain tone stories, regardless of the specifics of the setting, be it sci-fi or fantasy or whatever. But, you know, if the tone is we're just here to have fun or we're just here for a laugh, I think you get away with that stuff a lot better, broadly speaking. I never really watched any version of My Little Pony, Ms. Wicked Wolf. All right. I can't. All right. Can I get over those areas? Is that where I got killed? Those are the areas where I got killed. Okay. Yeah, pretty much 255. Like, and that's one of the key difference between something having comedic elements and something being a comedy. Like, most of the Marvel movies have comedic elements, but they're not out and out comedy stories. So if your point is humor, if you're like, we are here to make jokes, then yeah, a lot of the standard rules can go out the window if it's funny. Got me thinking fourth wall breaking is almost always used for comedy. Can you use it dramatically? Yes, there are such things as dramatic fourth wall break. I mean, whoa. Huh. Interesting. Shakespearean soliloquies are fourth wall breaks, and usually very dramatic ones. So yeah, they absolutely can be used dramatically. It's just not something we see very often because by its nature, breaking the fourth wall, and I mean, like, to be fair, the fourth wall wasn't nearly as much a thing in Shakespeare's time, so like he wasn't really breaking rules from his perspective. The idea of addressing the audience has been in theater since Greek plays. Only back then there was the chorus that would do it, and later playwrights like Shakespeare would have the characters address the audience themselves rather than having it fall on the shoulders of a chorus. But that's still an example. I think the reason it leans towards comedy is there's an inherent sort of awkwardness, sort of discomfort almost, that comes with fourth wall breaks that makes it lean into comedy very easily. I know that I've seen more modern examples of dramatic fourth wall breaks. I'm just struggling to think of a for instance at the moment. Sort of 255. Internal monologues actually are not very commonly used outside of prose at this point, because again, it's kind of immersion breaking. Somebody going on, whether it's a voiceover or them just like talking in the mirror, it can often be kind of immersion breaking for characters to do that. It's difficult to do, and you don't see it quite all that often these days. Oh dear. Shit! That thing's a pain in my butt. For horror, I've seen like Wanda looking at the audience in Doctor Strange 2. Not a big horror fan though. That's why I used a Marvel reference. Would you believe I actually haven't seen Goodfellas all the way through? Scuzzbopper. Yeah, I'm multiple seasons behind on Harley Quinn at this point. She-Hulk almost had a good dramatic fourth wall break at the end of the penultimate episode. And the next episode kind of ruined the drama. I personally think the last 3 episodes of She-Hulk were the best episodes of the show, but, you know, that's me. Harley Quinn season 4, Sex season 5 is good. I don't think I've seen season 3. I think I've only seen the first 2 seasons. I might have seen season 3. I can't remember now. It's all kind of fading. Well, not fading so much as blending together. Oh! Jesus! Shit! Jeez. Sorry I'm not as active in the chat at the moment. Things are a little on the hectic side. Whoa. Jesus. Shit! God damn it. Ah, fuck. God damn. Whew. I think relentless is a good word for the combat in this game. Whoa! Jeez. Shit. I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble. Whoa! And yay me for getting that perk, I guess, but... Jeez. Ah! Whoa. Jesus. Wow. Okay. That was... Oh, that was a lot. Mm. Whew. Okay. Ah, that would be helpful. Okay. A few years ago, the BBC did a police procedural where the gimmick was the major characters did soliloquies, like both the detectives and the criminals. Huh. I would say that being interesting briefly. I think that's the kind of thing that might struggle to stay interesting long term. Hmm. The biggest issue with She-Hulk with everything is resolved with a fourth wall break. I mean, I don't personally find that to be a super big issue. That's part of her deal, but that might be a matter of taste. Okay. I think in general, She-Hulk really struggled trying to be a wacky sitcom while also trying to have actual serious stakes, and it didn't fully nail either. Honestly, my biggest hang-up was that it half-assed the law aspect. Like, one of the things that is really fascinating about She-Hulk in the comics when dealing with her as a lawyer is that oftentimes it is taking a semi-serious look at what kind of legal precedents would have to exist and or be created in a world like the Marvel universe. And it's really interesting, and I don't think the show really bothered doing that at all. And that was my big frustration with it. And I suppose you could say it was leaning into the wacky too much, but like there would be some wacky legal things going on. It's just I feel like the show really dropped the ball on most of its legal stuff. Like the first major case that Jennifer takes on in the comics when she joins the law firm as part of the superpowered legal department. One of the first cases she takes on, actually I think it is the first case she takes on, is a guy who, like, it's a typical origin story. He fell into like some experimental chemicals on the job and got superpowers. And he's trying to sue for damages, which is difficult because as far as most people are concerned, like, how is this damaging? How is this damages? You have superpowers now, and it's a really interesting thing to look at and consider. And that was the kind of stuff I would have liked to have seen the show tackle, and it just didn't. It just didn't. Now, obviously in my case, that's a little bit of a my expectations thing. The sense I get is that people who liked it more than me came in largely with fewer expectations and just dug the energy of the thing. But I did have some particular expectations that were set by the comic I knew it was adapting. You betrayed the law. Law! God, that movie's so bad. It's bad in a fun way, though. Like, I don't like to use the term so bad it's good, but, like, that movie's kind of fun. Yeah, I think you and I are on the same page with that, Sammy. Oh, the Dread movie with Carl Urban is great. I love that movie. It's a shame it didn't have the success it needed to keep doing more. It was one of those ones that was kind of discovered after it had a failed theatrical run, you know, which rarely works out well. Isn't Judge Dredd one of those properties where Doomon gets what he's doing is so it depends on where in Judge Dredd you're reading. Like, the way Judge Dredd is set up is, all right, what's the best way for me to describe it? As time has gone on, what it's kind of settled into is that it's not that Judge Dredd is wrong, it's that the system he is part of absolutely is. The comics are frequently, well, the comics flat out depict the world as dystopian. So they very openly, the position of the comics is not necessarily that the judges are bad, although it does deal with corrupt judges on a fairly regular basis, but rather the overall message, at least as I have always taken it, is more along the lines of any world where this is necessary is bad. So there is sort of this underlying critique of, you know, whatever systems resemble the world of Judge Dredd enough that you're like, oh, I see how that grew out of the systems we currently have. And I do think the comics are pretty critical of that. Dredd himself is still, you know, the hero. He's still the protagonist of the story. And generally considered to be in the right, although not necessarily in an aspirational way. Ah. Okay. All right. So that opens up some things. All right. Still some stuff I can't get through, but that opened up a little bit more. Should see what that is. Have you seen the millions of John Walker Did Nothing Wrong videos that keep popping up for me? No, Like, I'm clearly, I clearly have done a good enough job at curating my YouTube feed that stuff does not appear for me. But, you know, I think I had one person try and make that argument in my own comment section. Who I did reply to. I cannot remember if they either never replied back or if, like, I ended up banning them because of their activities in like replies to other comments. It was one of the two, and I can't remember which. So, like, I've seen it brought up. I would not watch a video like that. Because, first of all, regardless of what you think, like, the perspective of the story is he very much did something wrong. And that's what it should be. Like, the man screwed up. That's part of the point. So, yeah, anyone taking a position John Walker did nothing wrong can go lick a fascist boot. Because I suspect that it's that kind of person. Not to put too fine a point on it. The main thing I remember about the 2012 Judge Dredd movie is Cersei Lannister falling off a building in slow motion. Yep. She was a good villain in that. It's just a good movie. Like, I don't want to... It's one of those movies that, like, if it lands right with you, it's easy to oversell. It's not, like, the most amazing thing ever made, but it's real, real good at what it's doing. It knows what it wants to be, and it is precisely that. All right, what's over here? Hello. Yeah, that is almost exactly the argument that somebody in my comments tried to make. And, like, no. No. And look, the villains in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Flag Smashers, are badly handled. But no matter what you think about them, there is a difference between Captain America, you know, infiltrating, taking out, or fighting people who are active threats at the moment, armed or not. Those people are pretty much always active threats. And beating a helpless, cowering man to death with the symbol of this country in front of an audience. There is a massive fucking difference, and anyone who tells you there isn't has a very unpleasant agenda that they are trying to push with that narrative. Now, I still haven't seen the Thunderbolts yet, so I can't say for what happens with John Walker later. I am curious to find out, but I haven't seen it. Yeah, I knew there was a new Superman trailer dropping today. I might, no promises. If I have the time, I might do a reaction for the Patreon. Huh. Alright, so it doesn't damage me, but it does, whoa, force me down. Okay. Oh, the Ironheart trailer's out too? Oh, for God's sake. Why does everything always come out at the same damn time? I will readily admit to being far more interested in... What is that? Being far more interested in Superman than I am in Ironheart. Whoa! 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 Okay. What the hell? Oh! Oh. Did that just... Hey, 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 hey! Shortcuts, baby! Gotta love them. Okay. I remember something Lindsay said about Captain America. Captain America will always stand up for the country's ideas as defined by just himself. Well, yeah. And you can consider that both a feature and a bug, depending on the kind of story being told. It does mean that if a writer has given Captain America questionable morals, then yeah, it could go south real quick. Because the ideal thing is that Cap is kept as, you know, very much embodying what we are supposed to be instead of what we are. But, you know, that's a tricky thing to balance because different people have different ideas of what we as a country are supposed to be. But I think, for the most part, Captain America has usually been handled well. Not 100% of the time, but then, you know, no character who's been running that long would be handled well 100% of the time. Similar to Superman, to be honest. Well, yeah, Superman and Captain America are both paragons. That is their archetype. Forthright and noble and honorable and always doing the right thing. Like, that's what they are. That's what defines them as characters. So yeah, they are very much the parallels to each other. And anyone who parallels Superman with any other Marvel character is usually doing it by powers. And if you're defining Superman by his powers, then you don't understand Superman. Sorry, hang on a second. All right, cool. Is the Doctor a paragon? No. No, he's not. The Doctor is not someone who always does the right thing 100% of the time. He is someone who certainly strives to do the right thing. But he is not as reliable as a paragon character generally is. Did this game have a Kickstarter? Is that what this is? Were these backers? Were these high-level backers? That's my guess. It's usually what that means. I disagree. The Doctor is a paragon, but the protagonist of the show isn't always the Doctor. What I mean is the Doctor doesn't always live up to the promise of his name. So, alright, let me put it a different way. I think you could argue there are some incarnations of the Doctor that are paragons. I don't think you could say that about all of them. Like, and so when I say I don't think he is, that's me talking about the Doctor as a collective. So, like, I would not consider the 7th Doctor or the 5th, for that matter, or even the 1st, to be paragon characters. I don't consider them to be that at all. There are some who fit into that a bit better. I would say the 3rd Doctor is probably the most archetypically paragon coded. But it kind of varies from incarnation to incarnation. You know, I don't like with either Captain America or Superman when they're written as dumb because people view that as a prerequisite for being idealistic. Yeah, and I would say generally when that happens, it's usually because they're appearing in a book focused on somebody else and the writer doesn't understand them. But yeah, that is a mischaracterization of them. Damn it. Shoot. Okay. Yikes. All right. I think we're going to wrap up kind of soon. Oh. It's monsters all the way down. Yeah. Have you read any Ultimate Comics, original or 2024 edition? I read a little bit of the original, and I mean like very early Ultimate Comics. I did not care for them in the least. I think that by and large, most of the Ultimate line was written by people who didn't understand the characters that they were writing, wrote them in a way that was unappealing and frequently very gross. It was often very edgelord, especially Mark Millar's stuff. So, yeah, I did not care for the Ultimates. Really at all, actually. I did not care for that story. Like, I appreciate that we got Miles Morales out of it. However, like, as an actual work, body of work, it's not good. It's really not good. Yeah, there was a shockingly high percentage of cannibalism. Like, what the frickin' hell is wrong with you people? Levels of cannibalism. And most of the changes to the takes on the characters made them less interesting. Like, most of the characters either, like, despite many of them being written out of character as far as personality goes, most of the characters were either just retreading what the main universe did, or the changes that they made rarely were particularly interesting. Like, oh, look, Gwen Stacy got killed by Carnage instead of the Green Goblin. Oh, and also the Green Goblin is this big hulking monster dude instead of a guy with a flying glider and a grudge. Like, okay, how is that more interesting? By what metric is that more interesting? All right. That's why I couldn't get that way. Yeah, that too. Haga. Now, something else that bugs me, people who think it's naive for superheroes to have a no-killing rule. I think that would be an important rule to impose on yourself if you had that much power. Like, here's my big issue with people who are like, superheroes shouldn't have a no-killing rule. And they normally bring this up with, like, Batman. Is that the core of that argument basically comes from people who failed to understand Watchmen. Because the point of Watchmen is that being more realistic with superheroes makes them terrible. And way too many people thought they should start doing it. So you get like they shouldn't have a no-killing rule. And then, like, then they'll make a real-world argument, something along the lines of, the lives saved versus the cost of one. Like, first of all, this is fantasy. Let it be fantasy. And second of all, I will back up what Lin Cara has always said about that. And not that he thinks no characters should be allowed to kill, but like the reason to maintain a no-killing rule for the characters who have it is that those characters are supposed to be better than us. If your argument is, well, I would kill him, well, that's why you're not Batman. Jesus. That's not it's not a bad metric, Sammy. I don't keep up with the comics well enough to know how well that holds up, but as a general metric, that kind of makes sense to me. I also think Batman and Superman would say they aren't the ones who should be making that call. Well, yes, that probably is what they would say, and they would be correct. I'll tell you what's something I like about this game. I like that your attack interrupts most incoming enemy attacks. I like that because it makes the hordes more manageable, but it also means that if you are not on the ball with getting your attacks out in the right direction, you can still get overwhelmed. I think that's a real big part of what's maintaining this this combat balance for me. That and the shield mechanic. I think they're both actually really good. Right. That's right. I couldn't go that way. But what's this way? Dynasty Warriors would unfortunately very likely give me motion sickness. I know enough about the series to say that if it didn't give me motion sickness, I'd probably like at least some of the entries in it. Nice. Now we're getting places. I am going to have to call it quits very, very soon. I did see that, Nick. I am very curious to see how that's going to pan out. I really liked the first season of Peacemaker, but it's one of those shows that I'm like, this first season was so good, I am inherently nervous as to whether or not it can be, oh, Jesus, properly followed up on. Whoa, Jesus. What did I do? What did I just get myself into? Ah, ha, ha. Okay. Okay. Whoa. Shit. Whoa. Okay. That's new. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Jesus. Yeah. Holy crap. Oh, not in good shape. Not in good shape. Ah! Come here. Woo! Okay. That was a lot, and I am not in good shape. Whew. It's this way. Alright, I can't get through that. The other day I saw an old interview with Charlie Booker from 2012 where he said, people used to say, oh, that's a bit Twilight Zone. I'd love for people to say, that's a bit Black Mirror. Well, he got his wish. Oh, geez. Now that you mentioned that, Sammy, did you hear the news? Max is rebranding as HBO Max. Let that sink in for a hot goddamn second. Whoa. Oh, shit. More than one of these things at a time, I was not really prepared for. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Hey-ya. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Here we go. There it is. Luck is an underrated upgrade. Thank you. All right. I'm going to do some upgrading and then we're going to call it a stream. Okay. Cool. This game is neat. I'm enjoying it so far. It is, it's a fairly standard Metroidvania, but it's got good aesthetic. And I'm here for it. But, yep, we got to call it a stream. So, hopefully later today I will have the review for the latest episode of The Last of Us out. Saturday's video, which is not up in early access yet because I'm still working on editing it, is it's about YouTubers and trying to be realistic about what it means to try and do this job. I think that's about it for now. I'll probably be playing more of this on Friday. So thank you all for joining me, and be well, be safe, and be kind. I'll see you.